We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality show with a touch of recovery. A reality show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who shares.
I'm joined here by my co-host and recording artist, Lolita Robinson.
How are you doing today?
Welcome to another day of Joy in My House.
Okay, and as always, you're looking spiffy and wonderful.
Thank you. I think I'm a lot more relaxed. You know, my weeks get so jumbled up and they're so intense. And we had a John Stamos event last night.
That's right. How did that go? Because
that went well.
Who was it? We had the young lady last week.
The project manager and crisis care coordinator, Jessica Whitman, talking about Project Cuddles.
Yes.
Debbie Magnuson is the founder. She's saved over 798 babies.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's huge.
It's a lot. She's been on Ricky Lake. She's been on so many different shows. Oprah. Yeah. And their event went without a hitch last night.
Oh, that's wonderful. So was there dinner? Did you guys have dinner?
It's a full-on event. You know,
okay.
we get to go backstage, hang out with John for a little bit. Then they have a dinner for us.
Okay.
And then there's a silent auction. And then they do the PSA where they talk about what the organization's about, which is Project Cuddle. It helps save abandoned babies, which we talked about last week on the show.
Okay.
It's an amazing organization, and it was just founded by Debbie Magnuson, who just wanted to help these young pregnant girls not throw their babies in the trash can or leave them in a fire station. She wanted to give them another option, and the organization has grown since.
Well, you know, and the lady we had on last week was awesome.
Yeah, Jessica came on and shared her testimony.
She really did. Yeah, she had gone through a lot of pain herself, but she took it as we say with the Lord. He can take whatever we get ourselves involved in and use it for His glory. And I think she did a really excellent job. It was so nice having her kids here.
Yes,
it
yes.
was like having children, you know.
Well, her and her husband were there with all the kids,
and
all of her daughters or her daughters or nieces or nephews. They're all involved in the organization.
Oh, really?
They all volunteer.
You got to meet them?
I met a couple of them.
Okay.
Met a couple of them. Saw her husband there as well. And it's interesting when God does such a work in us. We for those of us who submit and are faithful, we want to give back.
Okay.
So it's a great way of giving back to people that maybe have helped us or wish we had a program like that when we were through our hurt.
Exactly. You know what? Just to excuse me, just to speak on your behalf, I was watching. I'm hooked on Netflix. Oh Lord help me! But I was watching a documentary on Tony Bennett.
Oh wow!
And everyone always gives Tony Bennett a hard time because he wears ties. Okay, and I thought of you. He said, "You know what? I want to keep the glamour and the sophistication of this business, and so." Ties are in. I said, hey, that's it, Joel, because you always look spiffy and beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And so do you. You always come with such an attitude.
And,
when your hair and your makeup's done and you show up and you always have a smile on your face. Having to know you for all these years and read your book and your CDs that we've produced. It's amazing what God has done in the character that you still have after your hurt and after your recovery. It's amazing.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor to be here, and I'm excited about our guest today.
Well, we have a great show for you, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you know, you can link up with us on Facebook /Joy in My House. If you like our fan page, you receive up-to-date lineups of guests and information. We also have a Twitter page, twitter.com /Joy in My House. You can tweet us with any questions or comments. We also have an Instagram page where you can like Joy in My House and follow us on Instagram as well. But we have a great show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Travis Cox. He is a California State Representative of Celebrate Recovery, Los Angeles and Orange County. He has an amazing testimony that you're not going to want to miss. But I did want to touch on this show. Hopefully we instill a foundation of our faith, a foundation of our hope to all of you out there who are listening and viewing. It's not an easy road.
No, it is not. And in fact, I had an opportunity to talk to Travis's wife. I believe her name is Karen.
Yes.
And, not without telling her testimony, but they have been in this process for a long time. And I think we take it for granted, but people don't realize what it takes to be sober, to be clean, and to walk a straight and narrow path. It's it's excruciating, as you well know.
Well,
so
I've been
we have to,
celebrating.
I say kudos to people, really.
This last week marked my 10th year
I'm
of
so
sobriety
proud
from
of
any
you.
mind-altering substance.
Hallelujah.
And
it's
it was
huge.
You know, it was interesting because my girlfriend lives out in
thank you.
Lancaster, and it's been placed on her heart for a while now to attend a Celebrate Recovery meeting. So we've been attending a couple meetings, and this Friday we went to our Celebrate event
In
night
Lancaster, right?
in Lancaster.
That's so cool.
And it doesn't matter what city you're in,
That's right.
what background you're from,
There you go.
what addiction you have.
And what color you may be.
It does not matter.
'Cause Satan don't care. And
When you're
addiction
ready,
don't care.
when you're ready to submit and you show up to one of these meetings, there's something that God does in each and every meeting, in each and
And your
every
family.
submission.
Your family, wherever you go, right?
Yeah.
There's something he does on all things. Well, that's the Savior week. That's awesome that you're getting it. Well, you ought to know. You get around.
I do. But I'm just very grateful, ladies and gentlemen. I'm grateful for all our listeners and viewers out there who are tuning in with us, who are linking in with us. We want to thank you for being a part of the joy that we have in our house. We have a great show for you today. Joy in my house has Travis Cox. He is a state representative of Celebrate Recovery for the LA and Orange County County. You're not going to want to miss. This is Joy in my house. I want you to stay tuned. We're going to come right back.
Welcome, this is Greg, inviting you to tune in Saturday, 6 p.m. to the Mystic Ballroom. All vinyl most of the time, and we'll cover psychedelic, soul, garage, and much, much more. Myself and the Young Mogul will bring you this every Saturday at 6 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365 Radio, Flag, TuneIn Radio, AHA Radio, TV Radio, and Apple TV Radio. Or you can watch, listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for yours and mine listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is TJ, inviting you to join us every Sunday at 2 p.m. for Veterans Day Live. Join us as we provide info that would help all military personnel. So don't forget to tune in to Veterans Day Live every Sunday at 2 p.m. That's every Sunday at 2 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Radio Flag, TuneIn Radio, Live 365, AHA Radio, TiVo Radio, and Apple TV Radio, or just watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hey, this is Trisha Mann Grant, and I am inviting you to join us every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Gospel Rhythms Heaven's Party here on Earth. And join us as we talk to the Christians, just not any Christian, but all Christians of entertainment and all walks of life. Don't forget to tune in to Gospel Rhythms Heaven's Party here on Earth every Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, TuneIn Radio, AHA Radio, TiVo Radio, and Apple TV Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality show with a touch of recovery. I'm joined here by my co-host and author of Shaped by the Master's Hand, Lolita Robinson.
Glad to be here.
And our in-studio guest, Travis Cox. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Very
Yeah.
quickly, before we start getting into Travis and your story, I want to thank our producer, Van Eric. I think he gave me a small announcement at the beginning of the segment.
All right.
So I'm going to call it out on him. Congratulations, Van. I'm going to let you share when you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, God has finally put my significant other in
in your life.
In my life, so the date hasn't been set yet, but she wants to get married in summertime.
Well, congratulations. Another good man is gone. It's not another one bites the dust. Hey, another one looks up and it takes on responsibility, and I'm happy.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, Travis, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for
We
having
always
me.
like to let our audience and viewers get to know you and how we met. We met through Kathy Taylor, which is one of my accountability partners.
Yes, she
and a
is.
very close
Mine too.
sister in Christ in our lives. And she is the one that led me to Celebrate Recovery and started my step studies and my program with Celebrate 9 years ago now. 9 years ago, like a blink of an eye.
It goes fast. Yeah, it does.
But we want to thank you for coming on because I had an opportunity to hear your testimony at one of the meetings, and it touched me. But we have met several times.
You guys had, huh?
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
Okay. So when did it click that you decided to come on the show? I mean, how did it, finally
Well,
get
it was
together?
through Kathy Taylor when I went to go just sit down with her and pray with her. She's like, you know what? You need to talk to Trinda, which is Travis's mom. He's like,
Oh.
but Travis himself has an amazing testimony. Then when I put one and two together, we
You knew,
met
okay.
at the book launch for Hurting Moms for
Correct.
Kathy Taylor.
Oh, I was there too. I don't remember. Okay, I'm sure you were there, Travis.
Yeah, I was.
All right, that's awesome. Okay.
Well, what's interesting, he's very humble. He's very
Yeah,
quiet.
yeah.
He comes, says hello, and that's it. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people out there who want to be on stage. There's a lot of people who want the mic. There's a lot of people who want, look, me. But
Right.
Travis is very humble.
Right.
And yet, reading his story, it is amazing because you have a lot to offer.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear, Travis. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
and
having
for being open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, let's let our audience and viewers get to know you a little bit, Travis. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Bellflower, California,
Okay.
locally from here, and we moved around a lot. Went to 5 different elementary schools. There was a lot
Why?
of moving around. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2, so me and my mom were on our own.
Okay.
And so there was a little bit of moving around here and there and just kind of settling in, and that didn't settle in until high school, where I was able to stay at one school. So
That is not easy. I've had that experience too. Well, I know you got siblings. Does he have siblings?
no, I have no. I'm an only child. I have a stepbrother and 3 stepsisters when my dad remarried. But as far as anybody at the house, it's just me and my mom, just on our own.
Well, at such a young age, it's got to be such a transition, from going to being with your father, then not being with your father at that crucial age.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? How were you at the time? How did that affect you?
Well, when it happened, I was 2, so there wasn't a lot of. I didn't really know at that age, but growing up, I mean, it's all around me. I have friends that I grew up with, and neighborhood kids that all had their dads, and so
Was he in your life? Did he stay in, or did he
Yeah,
kind of pull away when they
he-
divorced?
He didn't move far away. He moved up to Northern California, and when I turned 5, I started flying up there 1 month out of the year to stay with him for the summer. So I had a relationship. Was it the relationship I wanted?
Right.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
But it was, it was something. At least it wasn't, completely removed from my life.
Okay, so you knew. So how was it with your mom?
It was tough for her. I mean, she was back then. She wasn't a Christian yet, so
Okay.
she was just doing her thing. It was the '70s,
Oh
everyone-
boy, do I know? Yeah.
Yeah, so she was kind of a party girl, liked to go out and party and dance with her friends and stuff, and go out and meet men and all that kind of thing. And I think she was probably looking for someone to fill that void,
Yeah,
also.
sure.
And I don't want to, tell her story. She's going to tell a little bit of that.
Next
When
week.
she
Next
comes.
week,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but
But let's talk about that because she
Yeah.
did remarry briefly.
Yeah.
How was that?
She met a guy. I'm not sure on exactly how they met, but because I was 5 years old, and she met a guy, and they got married, and we moved to Norco for a year. And that 1 year of marriage, they were married. He spent half that year in jail.
Oh boy.
He was a very angry person. He was verbally abusive to my mom. He was physically abusive towards me.
I was going to ask you that.
I have no recollection of it. God's just really blocked that part out of my life. But my mom's,
She's filled in the blanks
she's filled
for
in the
you.
blanks of
Yeah.
some stuff that happened, and so that just marriage wasn't meant to be. So they divorced, and we moved back to Bellflower.
Well, thank God it was a year.
Yeah,
You know what? That says a lot. Because some ladies, I mean, unfortunately, you get in that, it's very hard to get out.
you get stuck.
You know what? So
Yeah.
thank God that she, that's part of her past, but she got you guys out of there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, having had the opportunity to get these testimonies ahead of time and read them and pray about them before I script out a show, it was heavy on my heart because you said certain things that just resonated with me. Which one of them was your stepfather went to jail and you were left without a figure father once again.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Poignant.
Yeah, that is good.
And the thing is, if you look around today, what's going on in the world and how many men are incarcerated, it's a father issue. It's a lack of a father issue. And a lot of the things that kids are doing these days and young people are doing these days is because of a lack of a dad in the home. And so it's vital. I mean, that's God's plan to have a mother and a father. It's just kind of like the way things work. And it's tough growing up. And you learn at a really young age to start coping with those things and start doing things to fill that void. And I had no one there to show me that. And the men that would come in and out of my mom's lives just weren't there long enough to fill that void.
And the thing that's really beautiful about this whole story, it has nothing to do with color.
Right.
You're a white young man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they say a lot of that in the inner city, and that's true, but the fatherless affects everybody.
It does.
It really does. Did you feel abandoned and feel like it was your fault that once again another man left? Did you feel that?
I went through that phase. I think I went through that phase, then got out of it, then went back into it. It was kind of like a roller coaster throughout my years growing up as a teenager. That you start, well, what did I do? Why did he leave? Did he leave because of me? I learned a long time ago from my mom. She was really good at being open about it, and she said, it was us. It had nothing to do with you. It was
beautiful. Isn't that funny how kids take that? We take it on ourselves, but it's beautiful that she was able to share that it wasn't. Did it register then, or did it take years for you to? Okay,
it took a long time to process.
I'm sure that's going to come in your story.
Until I got really into Celebrate Recovery, into a step study. A lot of the stuff that I learned that I just put aside, that I was able to process because it made sense.
Okay.
Well, I was going to touch on what did it look like visiting your father. What was that lifestyle like?
I started flying up there to Sacramento 1 month out of the year, and he had remarried. He married a wonderful woman, Phyllis. She's my stepmom. We still have a good relationship today.
That's beautiful.
And
because that's not usually the norm.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Oh.
And she already had 3 or 4 children before they met. They had no children together, so I'm an only child for him as well. And it was good. I had a brother. His name is Hallie. He's about a year or 2 older than me, and so him and I were real close. We hung out a lot.
And you guys terrorized the younger ones, right?
We were the babies, so it was.
Oh, you guys were the babies.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
The 3 older sisters were a lot older, and they did a lot of,
they terrorized you.
Yeah, not too much.
No.
Well, I wanted to talk during this time. Did you face any with so much challenge and situational change? Did you face any challenges during this time? Any struggles? I understand the abandonment and the situation.
It's a stability issue.
Yeah, you must not have felt like you belonged.
There was no stability.
Right.
I mean, picking up and moving out 5 different elementary schools.
That's a lot.
In 6 years.
Wow.
That's in elementary school. That's a lot, And
so you never fit in, had a chance to.
I didn't want to make any good friends at school because I knew that we weren't going to be friends for much longer because we'd pack up and move again. And it's not my mom's fault. I don't blame my mom at all. Life just kind of deals you things, and you just have to learn to deal with it. And our situation was moved from here to here to here.
Well, you're not blaming, but you are looking at and helping people to see where maybe some of their injuries came. Because we know our parents didn't do this stuff on purpose. Nobody sits and, but injuries do happen. And so I appreciate you saying that. So, later on in life, that would have to affect you wanting to get close to people.
Yeah.
So you just put up a wall?
Yeah, I was real good at putting up walls.
Okay.
And good at stuffing my feelings, too, not letting people know how I really felt. It was, I had a lot of anger growing up. I had a big anger problem even at a really young age. I would punch holes in the wall when I was really young in my bedroom and, beat the dresser up with a baseball bat or whatever.
Wow.
I mean, just when you're
angry.
angry.
You're really
angry. You
don't have a word to
let
it.
it out somehow, and I'm not going to go out and beat up the neighborhood kids. So,
I was going to ask you, did that bleed into being a bully? Did any of that?
It did.
Okay.
Hurt people.
That's
and,
right.
Well said.
And it's just the bottom line. And so
you don't
you
hear
pick
that
on
at
the
all.
younger, you pick on the weaker, and we had neighborhood kids that me and another friend of mine, best friend growing up, we would just push around and bully the other kids in the neighborhood, and it's. I mean, you look back now and it's regret and remorse.
I'm sure I know it. I can see it in your face.
Yeah.
You would talk about you would stay with your grandparents during the weekend while your mom would go out.
I was going to ask about
during
that.
the weekend.
Good,
You would stay with your grandparents during the weekend, and during the week you're with mom. But something happened where she hit her bottom, and she'll tell her story next week, which will be very interesting. But your mother hit her bottom and got radically saved.
Yeah.
So you started attending a small Southern Baptist church.
Correct.
What was that like?
So there was no religion before that, no God at all. Your grandparents didn't know the Lord or any of that.
No, my grandparents were very involved in church. They lived right around the corner, so we were always in close proximity. Even when we were moving around, we didn't move too far away, and I spent a lot of time there. But the church was right around the corner from our house, and a neighborhood kid said, "Hey, you want to go to church sometime?" And I said, "Sure." And my mom was going through a lot of stuff at that time, and she'll talk about it again. She was going through some real bad, suicidal thoughts, and just life was really rough for her at that point. And I go to this church. I'm like, "Hey, come check out this church," and she went, and that was it. I mean,
wow!
God just grabbed a hold of her right there, and he had already had a hold of her.
Right, but he really,
he was able to sow into her life and speak, life.
And how
into
long?
her.
How young was this young man who told you about church?
He was one of my not one of my best friends, a good friend at school, same age as me. So we were 9 years old.
Oh, see the power of children, because look at that's how we met through the neighborhood kids with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
The power of kids getting out there. That's awesome.
Well, you stated in your testimony you started experimenting at drugs, even though you were attending this small Southern Baptist church, and God was setting the seed there. You still experimented with drugs at 12 years old with some neighborhood kids in the street, because you talk about, you're a Christian boy or you're a church boy, you must not do those things. But it's just a judgment that we make on people. But the case with you was you were attending church, but yet you were still experimenting. Let's talk about that experimental phase.
It's funny, going to church even at a young age doesn't make you a saint. I mean,
no,
we're still
and you don't know either at that point.
I was looking for something. I was looking for something to fill that void. We're all kind of born with this hole in our soul, and we go through life trying to fill it. We fill it with bad relationships or drugs or alcohol, and the bottom line is it's a God-shaped hole.
That's right.
And God's looking to fill that hole. And when we find out about it, we either do one of two things. We'd run towards him or we run away from him. And so, the neighborhood kids and I just, your normal kids growing up in the 70s
That's
and 80s.
what I'm thinking, yeah.
And
more of it, was it peer pressure at that point or just for fun? Because I don't think you knew you had a hole inside.
It was just for fun. I had a couple of friends that, their parents were, one guy's mom was a pretty heavy drinker and the other one had a dad who smoked a lot of weed. So we would steal his weed and we'd go out and get high and we'd roam around the neighborhoods and we thought we were really cool at 12 years old, just kind of running the streets and doing our thing. And
well, I wanted to mention that because how interesting, because your mom was radically saved. You had no drugs and alcohol in your house.
No.
But yet still found a way to
the enemy has
access.
it up there. He provides,
Yeah, absolutely. And
Did you have a connection to it right away? When you first started using, what happened? What was the experience? So people can understand.
I actually took my first drink at 9 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I was on a summer trip up to my dad's, and he'd asked me to get him a beer out of the fridge. And I asked if I could open it for him and try a sip, and he said sure. And I tried a sip and thought I was grown up, and got a lot of beers from out of the fridge that summer. Thought I was really matured, and I liked the way that it made me forget.
And it did that early at 9.
Wow! Now, I wasn't drinking a lot at 9. I had tried it at 9.
Right.
Yeah,
By
but
12,
still, you knew that it was kind of, it was
manifesting.
I was getting into my mother's beer at the time, but it didn't. I don't know. I didn't do it too much after that, but I didn't feel any different. So that's different. My disease was more of relationships and stuff like that. But
for me, smoking weed was big.
That was the bigger thing.
Yeah.
So alcohol wasn't your drug of choice, really. It can come and go, but weed was the thing.
The bottom line was I was doing whatever it took to make me not feel the feelings I was feeling. Those feelings of abandonment, those feelings of not having the dad around, and drugs and alcohol filled that void really well.
Well, let's go to the next drug
too, and everything. That's interesting.
Because the next drug.
So people need to realize that about the young kids. We need to watch our children.
Oh yes.
We really
need
do.
to be present in their lives.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Be present in their lives because the next drug you tried, it was a love affair, and that was cocaine.
Yeah,
and that's heavy duty.
I didn't mess around with anything but pills and alcohol and weed through high school. But it seemed like right after I got out of high school, the enemy was right there, and I had a friend of mine introduce me to cocaine. And they say the first time you do cocaine, there's a really good chance of becoming hooked. Absolutely true.
They told us because that you couldn't get addicted to it. For some reason, my mother just drilled it in my head about drugs. Alcohol was a different story, but I was afraid of it. But this guy tried to get me to do it, and that was a lie, that it wasn't addicting.
Yeah, it's a
but the
lie.
first time you do it,
with cocaine for me, the first time I tried it, I was hooked, and it started off $40 a weekend just on a binge once in a while, but that turned into about a $200 a day habit almost overnight.
What?
Yeah.
$2 a day habit.
$200 a day habit, yeah. So, and the thing was, I didn't have a job to pay for that. I mean, I had a job, but it wouldn't pay for that. So, the next best thing was learning how to hustle on the streets, learn how to sell dope, and that just kind of.
Did somebody come and show you that? I mean, did you have someone who, or you just kind of picked it up on the streets?
Acquaintances that introduce you are more than happy to show you how they do.
Show you the
how to
ropes.
do their thing and show you the ropes.
Yeah,
So, that's
yeah.
just
So this was out of high school.
right out of high school. Yeah, I was.
What
probably
kind of student
18.
were you? Were you a good student or?
Growing up, I was a really good student.
Everyone that comes in here that has you were
Elementary school and junior high, I did really well. But when I started smoking weed and started hanging out with that crowd, that was more important than school.
Right.
And really smart growing up. I was in all the advanced classes in an early age.
Thank you for saying that, because a lot of people don't realize that addicts are very, very
Intelligent.
very
Yeah.
intelligent, creative,
Yeah.
very above. So I think that's maybe why there's such a void.
Yeah.
So you had you were in high aptitude classes and
Yeah,
gifted.
absolutely. Until I started getting through high school. And by the time I got into like junior and senior in high school, I barely graduated. I mean, I didn't even have enough credits to graduate and get my diploma. I had enough to walk through the ceremony and end up getting a GED. So it was that was embarrassing. I mean, at least I got to go through the ceremony with the friends, but and then right after that, it was. I mean, I was on my own. My mom kicked me out of the house at 18, and for every good reason.
And I wanted to touch on that
Oh, that's
because
really she was in church still, right?
Yeah.
During
I know
she
when
wasn't
you're-
playing. So and
Good
what I
girl.
was doing, she wasn't playing.
Okay.
and because you were still attending a youth group at a Pentecostal church,
Yes.
but you were still using too,
Yeah.
and you got arrested for the first time,
Yeah.
and you had a bag of coke,
Yep.
and cops came, and
Yeah.
your secret was out. Talk about that.
Yeah, I thought when I got arrested that first time, and it was a small amount, but it didn't matter. Your first time is traumatic, getting arrested, and I thought, okay, now my family knows that I've got a problem. I've got a drug addiction. But the thing was, the Holy Spirit had been speaking to my mom for a long time.
She knew.
The Holy Spirit reveals those things.
Yeah, they
those
do,
Things
'cause-
that are in dark are caused to come into the light.
Yes,
and
they
that's
do.
Just through the revelation of the Holy Spirit.
So
And
she knew, yeah.
She knew what was up, and it was going to drag that whole household down, and she had to make a really tough decision. And she says, you know what, if you want to be with your drug addict friends, your alcoholic friends, then go for it, but you're not going to do it here. And I came home one day and my bags were packed sitting on the front lawn.
So she had to do tough love. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you something. The Lord brought a question to my mind. There are so many kids that are in youth groups. Okay. Why didn't it connect when you were listening? Is there a disconnect from the pastors talking to the kids, or why wasn't what they were saying touching
Yeah,
what
well,
was
wasn't
going
it
in your
piercing
life?
your heart?
Yeah, with
It
the
seems
youth.
like you guys are committed as
Yeah.
youth. You're
Youth,
committed
yeah,
to
but
these. I
something
wasn't in a youth
happens.
program, but you were committed to this youth program. It looked like you were attending, so to some degree there was a commitment there, but
What
it
was
wasn't
missing?
piercing your heart.
Yeah.
What
No,
would you say?
What would
I
you
had
say?
a love
Yeah.
affair with Jesus Christ at an early age, and then other things started getting in the way, and that's just kind of what happened.
The separation, the detachment.
And do you think maybe
Exactly.
the youth pastors are not, unless you come from that lifestyle, I know you would be privy to see. Do you think that they're not recognizing what's going on with the kids, or they think
We had a youth director at the Baptist church that was really good, and then when he stopped doing that, my mom took over, and it's kind of like having your mom as a teacher.
Oh, yeah,
They
that
don't
would-
want to listen
No,
because
no,
now
mine do,
you're
yeah.
telling you what to do at home and at church.
Right.
And so and it wasn't her fault. The
Right.
youth, they love my mom. Everybody was always at our house.
But it's like a PK kid, a pastor's
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
You know,
You
they
can't-
tend
you
to
can't
give so
minister.
much. You can't minister to your
Right.
kids.
Okay,
But
that
I
was
wanted
well.
To,
Okay.
I wanted to touch on this because this was a tragedy, but yet it was something that really was imperative to your life at this point. You started living at your grandparents' home, and soon after that, you heard some news about your father.
I had already become hooked on my drug of choice, on methamphetamine by then.
Oh,
And,
so you had graduated from.
Yeah, that it was cheaper. It got me higher, longer, and yeah, that was a whole new thing. Cocaine.
How old are we? How old were you then?
About 20.
Okay.
So it was about a 2-year run on cocaine, and then it was straight to methamphetamine. I never looked back at cocaine again. And was living at my grandparents. It was kind of on again, off again, and mind you, I used and abused them all growing up because
Your grandparents?
they were enablers, and I took advantage of that. And that's what drug addicts do. We take advantage of people. So I'm living there at my grandparents' house and coming home one day, and I had a part-time job here and there, and I came home from work one night, and my grandma was crying, and she told me that my dad had had a heart attack and died.
Oh.
47 years old.
Wow.
Diabetic.
Oh.
Third heart attack, and it took him out.
Oh.
And all I could think in my head is, Dad left again. Once again, Daddy left. And so that took me from going downhill like this to a straight nosedive.
Yeah.
And I graduated from just doing meth to hanging out at the dealer's house and going places I never thought I'd go. And, you know, drugs will take you places you never dreamt of or had nightmares about. It really will take you down.
But I'm glad that each person that comes on shares their story. Hurt is the bottom line.
It's the root.
Most people, you know, don't want to end up as meth dealers or users.
Yeah.
It's hurt. We're not excusing it.
Yeah.
But that was had you stayed connected with your father during that time period?
You know, up until I was 18, I would fly up, like I said, once a month. During high school, I flew up once a month. And by the time I turned 18, I actually went up and lived there for about 6 months. Once I was asked to get out of the house, in my house. And I went and lived there for about 6 months, and it was different. You know, I was already an addict then. But after that, no, there was really no relationship. And so my anger inside was not just for him leaving. My real anger was he died, and he never knew I was a hopeless drug addict.
Oh, wow.
That just ate at me. You know, it was horrible.
Why did that matter that you wanted him to know? You wanted him to know how much pain you had been in? Or
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I
I
think
want to know
we're
how bad
searching.
his son had struggled.
Yeah.
We're searching for that connection, the
You
same
are,
connection
huh?
we have with God. We want God to know us. And, you know, when we talk about it and we praise God, we talk about how he knows our hurts.
Yep.
He knows our every
That's a good
every
point.
feeling. And I think we look for that on earthly parents
Yeah.
that are not connected to
My
us.
mom knew. My mom knows all the pain I went through. My mom's been, you know, once I finally got clean, which we'll talk about, was my biggest supporter, you know, and that's great. I needed that.
But the
But
dad's
not having
different.
dad's different. It
Yeah.
is. It's so vital.
Well, let's talk about the next chapter, because you
Wow.
started dating a girl with children and started dating another woman and partying with her.
Yeah.
Now, we'll mention her name because she has her testimony. She's in program, and she said it's okay to mention her name. Karen, and you started living a crazy life together. Tell us what that looked like.
We were
So this is a different. So there's a lady who's kind of like that is when the addict. Like you have the one who's the homebody, right?
I
The
was
one
dating
with
a
the.
well, she wasn't a homebody, but I was dating her and she had kids, but I
Okay.
was really just a babysitter with benefits. So
Oh, okay. So she was using you.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
And then
so
I met
then you met Karen, and you guys were.
and we hooked up and started hanging out. And my grandparents were always going on these cross country trips in their trailer, so I had her come over and live with me for a little while. And they came home early one time, and the house was a mess, full of people. I was stealing his tools and finding cash wherever I could and pawning stuff. I mean, drug addicts do what they do.
Yeah, they do.
And so they told us to get out, but I had a car. So we were living in my car. I can remember sleeping on the street in our car with towels up in the windows to keep the sunlight out in the morning. We were like,
What?
oh, yeah, yeah. And then so we
God, you would never. I mean, look at God can do. What?
and we would stay at friends' houses and stuff. And we ended up going to this apartment building in Bellflower, and there was an empty apartment above my drug dealer's place.
Oh,
and we knew the
boy.
manager of the apartment, and we asked him if we could stay there for one night. And he said, yeah, and that turned into a couple of months of just squatting in an empty apartment. I mean, we had, you know, no power. We were running electrical lines from outside because, you know, meth addicts do what they got to do. And, you know,
Was she
sleeping on
doing
the
meth
carpet.
too? Was Karen
Yeah,
doing it too?
Yeah, we were both hooked on it, and we'd started smoking it by then. And
Ooh.
it just took
Yep.
it from one level to the next. Yeah.
That's a dragon right there.
Yep.
And
Now
where
you
was the Lord in all this? I mean,
He was absent. He wasn't
What are you
absent.
thinking about? Yeah.
I had pushed him completely
Right.
out of the
You didn't want to
picture.
hear it or any of
Yeah,
that,
God never
yeah.
left me. I left him.
There
Let's
you go.
get that real clear there.
very
Well, what's
well said,
interesting,
yeah.
it didn't stop there because you started living together. Then you found a trailer across the way. They let you.
A good friend of mine that I'd grown up with let us come live with him for a little while, get out of our partial homelessness, and
Another enabler, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize. They think we're helping, but we're
Yeah.
not.
But we were all addicts together. So
Oh, so
it
he was
it was
in
a
there,
good
okay.
relationship at that point. You
Okay.
know? And so a trailer came available across the driveway, and the owner said we could move in if we wanted to, if we were able to come up with the money for the trailer. So I went to my grandparents once again, and they helped us out get the trailer. So we were living there, and that's when we found out Karen was pregnant. And Karen had a lot of willpower. She had more willpower than I did, and she quit using during her pregnancy. I didn't. I had no reason to.
No.
But the chaos started increasing because we were to help with the space rental. We moved in a roommate. Well, he was a pretty big meth dealer. And we got rid of him because of some other issues and moved in a bigger dealer than that. Because that drug addict thinking, this will be better. We'll just move in a bigger dealer.
Yeah, bigger dealer, huh?
And he moved in and he had a girlfriend, and then our daughter was born. And, it was chaos. And his girlfriend and him had a baby, so there was 2 couples living in this home using. And
these little babies?
We started having visits from these pretty high-level members of one of the largest gangs in LA at the time. And they were teaching us how to cook meth. And so we were cooking.
Man, you got Breaking Bad going on over here. Yeah, you were doing Breaking Bad
no
before.
Joke. In
yeah,
fact,
they make that. They glorify that, huh?
I couldn't watch. Well, it's not that they glorify it. That's reality right there. That's very, very real. And
I guess they don't glorify it, but they show you this is really reality. And you guys were in a good neighborhood doing this stuff. Well, maybe not a great neighborhood, but
it was all right.
Okay, but you couldn't watch. Yeah. Wow.
Well, what's interesting is that you had a job that you were maintaining.
Yeah.
But then your addiction got so bad that they let you go.
Yeah.
And then you had no other option. And I don't want to say you have no other option.
At work.
Yeah, you were getting high and
at work, like in the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Smoking dope, and so I'm thinking they didn't know anything.
What's going on through your head? I've always wanted to ask somebody. Nothing. When are you aware that you're miserable? Are you aware that this is just? Are you just not?
I wasn't miserable unless I was out of drugs.
Okay.
When I was out of drugs, everything was miserable. But when I had drugs,
you just weren't.
No, of course not. I mean, everything was fine. I wasn't hurting for anything. I thought, and if I did, I'd just get higher and forget about it.
Did Karen go back to using after the baby came?
Yeah, right after our daughter Sarah was born, she went back to using. And by that time, with these other people coming into our lives, we had 15, 20 people in our house at any given time. It was a constant flow of drugs.
I can't believe this.
Guns, gang members, cooking meth. It was just complete and utter chaos going on in our house, and it was just a matter of time.
And that time came around because the police were actually staking out your home.
Yeah.
And one morning, they came in and busted you guys.
Yeah.
Not knowing that if they would have come a couple hours earlier, they would have caught you with a large supply of methamphetamine.
Yeah, they've been watching this. When they talked to me, they said they've been watching us for probably 6 months, looking for that right moment to bust us. They knew we had a big dealer living in our house, and if they would have come 6 hours earlier, they would have found gang members with guns and about a pound of methamphetamine. But by the time they showed up at 7:30 in the morning, it was all gone. So just had a little bit there, but enough to get us busted.
Oh, this story, I can't believe it.
Oh, no, hold on. It
gets worse.
It gets deeper.
No wonder you're the state rep.
Before the dawn.
Wow, but you know what? God, you are awesome, because how do you take people's lives?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, what ends up happening is you lose your home. The cops bust you. You lose your fiance, Karen. She has her own stuff that she's dealing with, and you also lose custody of your daughter, who is now 2.
Yeah.
And it was actually given to your mother.
Yeah.
Oh, so
the day they raided us,
they took from Karen too. They took Sarah from you guys.
Well, they said they were coming back.
Okay.
They said Children's Services coming back. We're going to take your children because our
that other little baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so Karen called my mom, and she says, "Look, Krabs is going to jail. I'm a drug addict. We can't take care of this baby. Come get her because Children's Services come back to take her." So she came over and picked her up. And she'd been coming over every weekend to pick her up anyway. Her and Grandma had a really good relationship. And my mom knew everything
I
that was going on.
can't wait to hear. I mean, your mother, the pain the hurting moms. Boy, what a testimony.
Yeah.
Gosh. And so she had the baby.
Karen found out that when I got busted, she had found out through some people hanging out that I had been unfaithful to her because drugs makes you do stupid things. So she split. I got out of jail, and I lost the trailer. Didn't have custody of my daughter. Fiance was gone. I was homeless. I was done. And I'd been homeless before. But
How long were you in prison for?
I was only in. That's the amazing thing. God had my back. So that was my 4th felony drug conviction.
Your 4th.
Okay. 4th felony drug conviction, and my roommate's 4th felony drug conviction. I got 6 months in jail, and he got 18 months in prison.
Wow.
And that was God looking out for me that day. And so
Jail and prison are different.
Yeah. I haven't been to prison, but I've been.
So tell us newbies, what's the difference? Because when you say jail to me, what's the difference between jail and
jail
prison?
is anything. Usually, it's a year or less, and it's through the LA County
not as
system.
not as intense as.
It's intense.
Okay.
It's intense.
Yeah, it's no Disneyland. Yeah.
I think prison is more structured. You kind of settle in. There's no settling in jail. It's just you never know.
It's constant.
It's constant. You can be packed up and moved the next day. And prison's more stable, I think, as far as your home life. But it's only by the grace of God I never went to prison for all the stupid stunts I pulled, man.
So once you got out, now you get out.
Yeah.
What is your attitude once you get out?
I was released with an ankle monitor and I had to release to a stable place, so I went back to my grandparents' house. And,
your grandparents, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
God love them. They just don't know.
They didn't know, and I exploited that they didn't know. And so I was there for a month while the ankle monitor was on, and when the monitor was off, that was it. They said, you got to go. And so I was out on the streets for a couple of weeks. I'd even slept in a park by their house with a piece of plastic to keep the dew off for a couple of nights. And
So you really went down.
And then that day came, October 15th, 1998.
There you go.
Yeah, I woke up that morning I was at a friend's, and I saw this road in front of me. It was either I was going to die out there on the streets or I needed to get better. I didn't have any other choice, and I had to make a choice. And
Did you just woke up with this awareness?
I was tired. I was sick and tired being sick and tired. That catchphrase there, and it's true. I was just so done, and I knew I had nowhere else to go. I'd burned every bridge I ever crossed. And so I called my mom, and I said, hey, I need to get into a program. Can you get me into a program? And she said no. And that was the hardest no she could ever say.
Boy, she real.
She had to put up this defense wall.
Right.
And she says, here's a phone number. She says, I'll give you this. If you want to get better,
I got goosebumps.
Me too.
Got goosebumps.
Okay.
And that no was like, like a dagger.
I'm not doing it for you.
Yeah. She
And
wasn't.
explain that to people who are out there thinking, what kind of mother did you have? You had a mother. Explain that tough love. From your standpoint.
At that moment, I'm thinking she's got to be the worst person in the world for doing that. Looking back now, that was the best thing she could have ever done. To love me so much. That's love right there.
That she had to say no.
I'm not going to let you.
Put you on an altar really to the Lord.
Because if she would have picked me up and took me, I would have talked her into something else. The plans would have changed. And that wasn't part of the plan.
That wasn't God's plan.
So she gave me a phone number. She said, call this number. And I called it. And it was her associate pastor at her church. And he says, I'll come pick you up. And I got a place for you to go. So when he picked me up, I said, hey, I know where Karen's at. I want to go tell her what I'm doing. I want to say goodbye to her. So I found Karen, and I said, look, I'm going to get our daughter back. And I don't know what you're going to do, but that's what my plan is. I was able to give her a phone number at the home I was going to, and I wished her the best, and I walked away. I never thought I was going to see Karen again.
Well, we're going to take a break right
cliffhanger,
there.
Thanks a lot. Oh, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. When we come back,
Wow.
Travis is going to talk about his life-changing decision to recommit his life to Christ and how God had to work through some pain and challenges. It was not easy to get back on track. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. I want you to stay tuned. We're going to come right back. Ladies and gentlemen, back to Joy in My House, inspirational reality show with a touch of recovery. A reality show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who shares.
I'm joined here with my co-host, Lolita Robinson, author of Shaped by the Master's Hand.
Thank you, and I am so touched
And
by
our
the story.
in-studio guest, Travis Cox. He is the state representative for Celebrate Recovery in the Los Angeles and Orange County.
Wow.
And your testimony is very compelling.
Yes, it is.
Having the honor of reading people's stories and the testimonies, they weigh heavy on my heart. When I was reading this part of your testimony that we're going to go into, it really just, it resonated with me and it touched me. And my girlfriend, I was getting ready to teach about 5 or 6 students right before I walked into their gym. And she calls me and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, oh no, I'm just here reading a testimony. And I got choked up.
You get touched, you do.
And it just weighed heavy. So last night, I couldn't wait to tell her the story. So I had to tell her this part of the story because it touched us. but it's because of the work that God has done. I'm not giving the praise and the glory to anything but the work that God has done in our lives, because
Amen. It's him.
this number that your mother gave you to her associate pastor named Arnold took you to a home in Whittier called Catholic Rainbow Outreach,
Yes.
where you were ready to submit to a program.
Yes.
Talk about that.
So I went to Catholic Rainbow Outreach on October 15th, 1998. That's my clean date. And I was immediately interviewed by the director of the home, and I found out it was a one-year program. That
1
would,
year,
That
wow.
would involve daily Bible studies, regular outside AA and NA meetings, outside counseling, drug testing, everything, and no work allowed. You had to stay within the home and just follow this program. It was a discipleship program,
Wow.
not just a recovery program, but and the home is really set up for guys that parole from prison, and it's a safe place for them to go and get their lives back on track. And I met the pastor, Pastor Ben Reed, and
He was over the Rainbow Home.
I love Pastor Ben.
Oh. Yeah, you know, I want to cry too, because that's why I said people don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't even know.
He's got a
Gosh.
good heart. And so, you know, it's funny. Some people come into a program like, I'm just going to fight this thing all the way through. And I was so done. I said, I'll do whatever it takes now. I'll do whatever it takes. And I've
That's
never
right.
tried recovery before, ever. I'd never tried to clean. I didn't have any relapses or anything like that. The only time I was ever clean was when I was in jail, and that was just by force, not by choice. So I get into this home, and it pages and pages of rules. And
In addicts, we don't do rules, huh?
no,
You don't do
no.
rules.
When I'm an
don't do
addict, rules are
rules.
for fools.
I never heard that one. That's good. Okay.
So, you know, but you know what? I heard all this requirement of the home, and it sounded wonderful. And I was like, okay, I'll do this. And I had known the Lord, and I'd been close to him, and then I ran away. So I felt that super hard tugging on my heart. And I got into this home, and, you know, there were some big requirements. We were required to get up every morning at 5 a.m. and pray for 30 minutes. And I had found out from my mom right when I got into the home that she had been praying for me for 13 years.
Wow.
Every day.
Prayer
Covering me in
warrior.
prayer for deliverance from drugs, to come back to the Lord. There were times when she was so frustrated with me she couldn't pray any longer, and the women in her life stood in the gap and said, we'll pray for him for a while. You just take a break. And so they stood in the gap and prayed for me. So that meant a lot. That was a powerful statement to me that she prayed for me every day for my life to change. So my heart was concerned about Karen. And
So you really did love Karen.
yeah, even though we weren't together anymore, we were done. And so I took that opportunity, and I prayed for Karen every morning. And, you know, time went on in the home, and praying for her every day, and I'm working my way through positions in the home, and they found out I had a little bit of computer skills, so they put me in the office answering phones and typing letters. And 6 months to the week that I was at the home, phone rings. It's Karen.
Oh, man.
And she's crying.
She's sitting
And
over
she says,
there.
I'm done. I need help. And that day, we took a truck.
You were
went
able to
over.
take calls at that point? It's after
I was
6 months?
answering the office phones.
Oh,
I was
you were-
helping out.
Because you were working your program.
So she had
you
no.
were
So
being
she
of
wasn't
service.
calling you.
She was calling the home.
The home.
to reach me because she knew
Okay.
I was there. But
Right.
she because I'd given her that number the day I went into recovery. And so we went and picked her up and took her to a home out in Hacienda Heights. It was a brand new startup recovery home. More intense than the home we were in. We were only required to pray 30 minutes a day. They prayed for 3 hours every morning. It was
Wow.
They weren't playing. And so it was a quick immersion into the Lord for her. And that's where she came to know Jesus Christ and got clean and learned how to structure again. And the cool thing was the home she was in and our home were connected. And so once a month we had these fellowships, and her home would come over. Now I couldn't sit next to her, I couldn't touch her and anything like that, but I could see her.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
And it was
Look what
awesome.
God was doing.
Yeah,
Look
well,
what God was
God
doing.
knows what He's doing.
Is
Yeah.
there something with addicts needing structure? Is there something in
Yeah.
there? Can you explain that to people who out there who want to resist going into these programs? What did it do for you? The structure. What did it do?
It just provides, for me, it just provides direction and purpose. I mean, life's meant to have order. God does things decently and in order, you know, and when we're out of order and we're out of structure, it goes against the natural way things are supposed to be.
I agree. If I don't have my structure, I don't
Yeah, I
feel
have to have
safe.
it. Me too.
I don't feel safe. I feel out of control. And then if I feel out of control, I feel I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And if I can do whatever I want, then I don't need to answer nobody. And if I don't need to
Absolutely.
answer nobody, and that hole just gets
Oh,
deeper and
wow.
spirals in.
That's
That
well
gives me
said.
safety and creates a foundation to where
Accountability. kinda.
exactly, even if I fall, I have this structure. I have this strong foothold. Yeah, I can fall, but I can get back up. When I don't have that structure, it's I
Yeah.
can do whatever I'm my own God.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what it was. And I think for addicts, I'm an addict.
Yeah.
I need that foundation.
Yeah. Amen.
Because what ended up happening with you is she immersed herself in her program.
Yeah.
You immersed yourself in your program.
Yeah.
So you were both working on yourselves individually.
That's,
Separately,
there you
yeah.
go, separately.
And I want
there you
to
go.
make that clear. God needed to do a work on you on your own.
Yeah.
God needed to do a work on her
Karen
on
on
her
her
own.
Oh
own.
yeah.
God,
but as
you could
he
have a
slowly-
marriage ministry too. I mean, you
Well,
really can couples.
next.
Yeah.
Because then he started working with you both together.
Well, the church that the home went to every Sunday, and it was Catholic Rainbow Outreach, so it was Christian and Catholic. So we went to Mass on Fridays, and I wasn't raised Catholic. I enjoyed going to Mass. That was I enjoyed it. That's more structure.
Yeah, it
exact
is,
same
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Same here.
I
I
think-
enjoy my
yeah.
Catholic roots.
Yeah, it
I
is,
enjoyed
yeah.
going on Friday mornings to the Catholic Church in Whittier, and then on Sunday mornings they went to Zoe Christian Fellowship of Whittier, which is the place where the associate pastor Arnold, the one that picked me up, he was associate pastor there. It was the same church my mom and my daughter went to, so I got to see my daughter every Sunday at church.
Yeah.
How old
Those
was she
guys that
now? How
lose
old was your
custody
baby?
she was
3 now? 3 or 4?
going on 3. Yeah,
Okay.
going on 3 years old. So I've seen Karen once in a while. Her program was a 6 months program. She did her 6 months there. By then, I'd been in the home for a year. So I graduated the program, but I wasn't ready to leave. And so I moved across the street to their sober living home. I was able to go find work, so I went looking for work. I went, it's funny, I talk about it in my testimony about having, finding a job by being honest with the employer. And I told him everything. I'm a drug addict. I'm in recovery. I'm in a home. I'm not looking for a handout, looking for a hand up. I just want a chance. But there was 7 places I went to apply for that turned me down before I got that one. So
There you
it
go.
takes time.
It does.
Don't give up.
There you
Don't
go.
give
There you
up.
go.
There you go.
So Karen went to live with her sister, and by then we've been talking about marriage again. And God
Wow.
was stirring that back up in her heart. So she went to live with her sister to wait for me to finish my program. So 19 months later, with a car and a job, I was ready to test the waters. And I called my mom.
And you were a husband material.
Yeah,
There
finally.
you go,
Well,
okay.
the pastor at our church taught us what it was like to be a husband and be a man. So it's a good word.
Yeah,
And,
dad that you didn't have, so God gave you a dad. I think, is that, what would you say
I have
that?
a lot of spiritual fathers today. Pastor Ed Smith, who is now Bishop Ed Smith, and Arnold Carter, 2 of my real close spiritual fathers, and my granddad. My granddad, who's passed away, God allowed me to have a relationship
Make
with them
amends to
again.
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Karen went to her sister's. I'm getting ready to get out of the home. And in 19 months, I call my mom. I said, I'm ready to test the waters. I'm ready to get out of here. Can I come live with you long enough?
Wow.
And this is the person who said no
No
for
to
a long
yes.
time. And she said yes.
Oh,
Wow.
And I was like, what? And that's because of the change that was
That's
happening.
right.
And
yeah, she had to see
She
it.
saw God in you.
trust
She got out of
does
God's
not
way.
come easy when you've really blown it.
Right.
Trust is a hard thing to earn back, and God was allowing my family to trust me again. So I stayed with her for about a month, found an apartment, and the funny thing was, I found the apartment, and Karen could have moved right in with me. We have a daughter together, so by worldly standards, we could have been back together.
Sure.
sleeping
Yeah.
Nobody
together.
would have thought a thing.
But we wanted God to bless our marriage.
Oh, man.
So she stayed at her sister's.
Oh, he's
And,
happy. Yeah, you two are listening.
Yeah, exactly. Intently.
She stayed at her
Intently.
sister's, and then on March 10th, 2001, Karen and I were married, and our daughter
By who?
Sarah, by Arnold, the man that picked me up
The
that
man
day.
that picked you up that
I
day.
was stinking and smelling bad. And my only possessions I had were 2 plastic bags full of clothes. That was my only 2 possessions. So Arnold married us at Zoe Church in Whittier, and Sarah was 5 years old, and she was the prettiest flower girl we'd ever seen.
Boy, is this beautiful what God, our God, can do. What a mighty God we serve.
Amen.
What a mighty God
And within
we
less
serve.
than a year, within less than a year after we were married, we had full custody of our daughter. Full
How
custody.
amazing.
I'm looking at Karen. She's sitting in the corner there, you know.
2 years earlier,
Wow.
you were homeless. You were penniless. No one in your family would trust you. You had lost custody of your child. You have lost your fiance at the time.
Yes.
You were completely addicted to meth.
I was hopeless.
You were destitute and hopeless. But God's perfect plan,
Yeah.
God's perfect plan.
Here I was now married to the woman God meant for me in his perfect plan. I was trusted by my family members again. You know, there was a time if I had a key to any of my family members' house, they were calling the cops.
I wouldn't want to see you coming. I'm
Not that I
sorry.
ever used the key
I
to
mean,
begin with,
I wouldn't want to see you coming. But look at that, and then not only that, state rep.
Well, this is the next
do you
chapter.
go?
Well, what's interesting, and I wanted to
Whoa,
really
thank
touch on this before we end the show. God didn't stop there.
Right.
And that's amazing. We think, all right, we're here, but God
Yeah,
wants
that's enough right
more
there,
of us.
but
He
yeah.
wants
more.
all of us.
Yeah.
Because you had 10 years of sobriety. You get linked up with Cottonwood Church. There's a Celebrate Recovery there. You go there, you find home,
Yeah.
you join a step study.
Yeah.
You already have 10 years of sobriety.
Right.
How did you feel when you walked into that meeting?
You know, it's funny. We went to Cottonwood because we heard about Celebrate Recovery just starting up there, and we wanted to check it out. My mom and my stepdad were going there, and so we went.
And Cottonwood is big. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Bayless. I really, I hear him on the television
Yeah.
ministry. He's powerful. I mean, in the Lord.
We love our pastor.
Yes.
He's a good guy.
Wow.
So we went there, and the first night we went there, God spoke to my heart. He says, "This is what I want you to do." See, all these years going to this church in Whittier, God been, someone would talk to me about their son or their daughter going through a problem with drugs or alcohol. My heart would hurt for them. So I knew that was God saying, "This is something I put in you. That's going to be this is your purpose here. You need to help other people." And so we knew we wanted to be leaders there, so we had to get plugged into a step study. So I got in the first step
Yeah,
study.
they don't play with that. You
No.
can have, because I came out of recovery for over 20 years. I don't care.
Yeah,
you going to the
no
step
problem.
store.
Exactly.
Or you going, we don't arrive. You don't.
So I walked into that step study, and it was
Yeah.
funny. I had more clean time than the leaders in the group, and I thought I walked into that step study with a big bag of pride,
Me
a
too.
big bag of ego.
Me too.
And I'm going to show
I don't
these
need
recovery people
this.
what real
Yeah,
recovery is all
I don't
about.
need.
No,
I don't need this.
And I also thought I'm going to put my drug addiction through this step study. It's going to be a cinch.
God, it's hilarious.
Within 2 weeks, God chopped me off at the knees.
I know.
Humbled me real quick, and that's when I learned that my drug addiction and my alcoholism were never my problem.
Wow.
Yep, those were symptoms.
Symptoms of my
Wow.
problem. The problems were abandonment,
Wow.
fatherlessness, resentment, and anger. Those are the root problems that caused me to fill those voids. And like I said earlier, we're all born with this
Ain't he something?
this God-shaped
Shaped
hole
hole.
in our soul, and we stuff it with all these things, and all it really is God wanting to have a relationship with us. We're meant to walk and talk with our
Amen.
Creator.
Whoa, man, that was beautiful.
So I've been blessed. I've been allowed to work in this program, and
So how long have you guys been over there now?
7 years. We've been there 7 years, and
Praise the Lord.
I just
And then Hurts for Moms, which your mother's coming next week. There's another program.
Hurting
for
Moms
the woman.
it's structured similar. It uses
Different.
It uses the same process of getting through things. We use the same 12 steps that are in every other recovery program.
Right.
But
Yeah, I know she'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
But
then
this
I was
is
asked to come on
incredible.
board as a state rep because God is good, man.
Amen.
So he took John Brennan's place, right? Is that what?
No, John Brennan is the regional director. He actually left. He's not the regional anymore.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
John went to Illinois.
Illinois,
Okay.
yeah.
And
Okay.
Kathy Taylor brought me aboard because she had literally from Ventura down to Laguna. That's a huge area.
That's a huge area.
And so she needed help. And she says, "Look, I think you'd be good at doing this." And I'm like, I'm just going to trust you because I don't see it. But, we don't always see things
No, we
that,
don't.
that other people see.
Again,
But you fit
because
in
you
there.
submitted,
Wow.
because you submitted
And
to
you
your
were willing.
program, committed to your structure, committed to your service.
Yeah.
God used that.
Yeah.
You are now the state representative with Kathy Taylor over Celebrate Recovery in the Los Angeles and Orange County District.
Oh, that's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming on the show,
Thanks for having
Travis.
me.
You're
Oh.
amazing. I want you guys out there who are listening and viewing. If you got touched, if you got inspired and want to know more about Celebrate Recovery, know that you can visit their website at celebraterecovery.com. They also have a Facebook fan page that I want you to link up with. It is Celebrate Recovery /Facebook. There's also a Twitter page that they have, twitter.com/Celebrate Recovery. All the links are going to be on our Join My House Facebook fan page. I'm going to put those all up there because it is also my foundation of recovery. The show is coming to a close, Travis, and we like to ask this of all of our guests. What does joy in my house mean to you in today's day and age?
We can go out and make money and have all these fancy things, and that doesn't bring contentment. Joy to me is contentment. And I'm content today. I mean, I don't have the biggest house, I don't have the biggest car, I don't have the the highest paying job in the neighborhood, but I'm content. I mean, I've got a wife and a daughter that love me. We all work in this program together. We all get to serve and celebrate recovery together, including my daughter, who's never done drugs and alcohol.
How old is she now?
She's going to be 20 next month.
Oh,
and
gosh.
she leads the women's anger group. So
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
I
so-
know she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, love to you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Wow, that was.
So joy in my house just means, today I have that. I didn't have that before. I have
That's
hope
right.
today. I have hope.
Amen.
And my house is a happy place to be right now. It's a lot of joy going on in my house.
Well, Travis Cox, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for coming on Joy in My House. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to catch us live every Sunday here at noon with life-changing stories of inspiration and hope that will inspire you, because next week we have Trinda Lineback. She's the author of Closing the Door, But Not Your Heart, and she is
That's my
Travis's mom.
Yep.
You're not going to want to
Closing
miss.
the door, but not the heart. That's awesome.
This is Joy in My House. I want you guys to have a blessed day, and we'll join you here live every Sunday at noon on www.latalklive.com. This is Joy in My House. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless.
Where did the sweetness go?